Right, guys, this was a bit of a last minute decision on what to talk about, but it's kind of a culmination of a lot of people, a lot of partners that seem to, is anyone struggling that despite we've got inflation, despite we've got the bank, here we are, the Bank of England is on about, you know, raising the interest rate, and a kick in the teeth I've got here for families as Nationwide raises mortgage rates further than the Bank of England. And we've got an energy crisis, and we're talking about hikes of 50 to 60% in April for energy. Is anybody still struggling to be able to talk to people?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you find it's almost like they're bunnies in the headlights and it's all too much?
Their heads are in the sand.
Yeah.
I tell you what happens a great deal. When people go into crisis themselves, when the going gets tough, instead of confronting things head on, they tend to retreat. And as you say, Fran, they put their heads in the sand. Now, my background, just a quick one to say to you, for a number of years, I worked for a company which is now known as Liverpool Victoria, and I was their recovery manager. I was the lady that the department came to that when collections couldn't collect on HP and loans, those files came over to our department. And despite the fact that it was a joke that this was the heavy bunch, we weren't at all. In fact, what I taught my team was how to help people to get back to paying something. Because what would happen, they'd get into such a financial mess, into so much debt, it was almost, instead of confronting it and saying, I've got to deal with this, they'd run away. And I believe we've got a lot of the public that are in exactly that scenario right now. Okay, so I thought to myself, let's talk about this, because I know it's real, because I'm seeing it happen as well. But before we do, I just want to emphasize something enormous. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and it's the front page, my dashboard of the partner portal. And if you haven't already done so, do not delay and press this, and then go down to this and book, because unprecedented, Utility Warehouse for the first time ever in all its years is offering an early bird discount. Book your ticket up to the 31st of Jan. If you leave it afterwards, you're going to pay 20% more. Now, why would you do that? Because people procrastinate. I'm not being funny here, but £16 to get a lunch, your early materials pack, to be there for a whole day is absolutely crazy. I've never known it. So we're further down the line, and I can remember when I was paying £45 for a ticket. So this is phenomenal. Now people go, oh, well, I don't know if I've got to work. Book the ticket regardless, plan afterwards. Because Utility Warehouse are very kind and they do refund money. And there are always those that leave it and go absolutely ape and mental why they can't get a seat. Okay. So I'm telling everyone, get on and do it. I've booked myself for Saturday. You do not need to be there both days. Okay. We used to do that, but the company would prefer it if you were there for one, because that gives more partners the chance to attend. And please, please, this is not like Amplify. This is enormous. I think we had about 1,500 each day at Amplify. There's going to be 5,000 people. And amazingly, don't ask me how, but they managed to offer three or four options of hot meals. And and we all get fed as well, which is incredible. But it's going to be an incredible day. Everybody's going to be there. Well done, Rod. Yeah, I've booked Saturday. I can't wait. I'm very, very excited. Going up Friday night, and it's going to be a very exciting time. This is really 3 years since it happened last. That's crazy. It's because of the time span. So because the government is lifting restrictions, it's like, go for it, guys. Please don't leave it. Do not leave it, and then you can't go. All right. Everything else, if I'm going to say this to every one of you, if they were handing out £500 on the door as you walked in, I don't think there'll be one single person that wouldn't be booking. It's all about how much you want to rearrange your life. All right. Anything is possible if you want it enough. So think about £500 going into your hand in cash on the door, and I promise you, you'll be there. All right. Really, really important, because it's worth so much more to you. So much more. All right. Because I'm seeing people change their lives, literally. So now back to the thing in question. Can you all see something I showed last week, which was a lot of Big Al books?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm showing you those because these are all fantastic books. And I'm going to share with you just a few. This month, it's Hooks in the Knowledge is King Book of the Month Club. If you read Icebreakers, How to Get Appointments Without Rejection, Quick Start Guide, I read that one in an hour, and How to Meet New People, you've basically got a library of fantastic information to help you go forward. All right. I lend these out to people. In fact, the book I was on about last week, which was the Colour Personalities, it's still out on loan with somebody, and I've forgotten who I've lent it to, and I've got to get it back. But that stuff is valuable. So I'm going to kind of home in on it. Now, I want to explain to you that Mr. Critchley, our top partner in the network, sends the leaders lots and lots of information. And he's saying the cost of living crisis is hitting savers hard. Not only is rampant inflation eating into their savings, but rising prices mean that they need to find another £1,100 for a rainy day. And while savers won't be helped by the expected rate rise next week, those with a mortgage certainly will, by even more than the inevitable rate rise. And we've just seen that actually the Nationwide, who are the biggest lenders, are going up and above and beyond. So there's lots and lots of good stuff, okay? But hear this out. SGL Laura Marshall said, I've just been doing a price inflation for my day job. And across meat, fish and dairy, it's gone above 15% in a month. This is big. This is big.
That's massive.
A developer friend said that just sold a prime site as material costs to build up 20% because there's chain supply problems. So the price of raw materials for building is going up. When the building trade is hit, everything is hit. I think there's a lot of people with their heads in the sand. I don't think they realise what's really going on here. Energy is just one small part of it. It's every single price is going up. And if you guys haven't seen the difference in your weekly shop, then there's something, I don't know what's happening. You must be just buying less and eating less, all right? Because I'm actually seeing a massive difference in the price of food. All the basics, the things that matter to people like bread and milk, the stuff that, pasta, rice, all the items that matter, that can help people create a meal cheaply, all of that is going up. And there will be a point where they're going to have to honestly think about it, really seriously think about it. Now, we've got something phenomenal in that not only can we reduce their bills genuinely, but we can also offer them a way out of the nightmare. And that's the same for all of us as a reminder. Do you know what's really ridiculous? Is people will cut their lives back. But instead of doing that, why don't we just get into action and do a bit more and have more money coming in? Because if you've got more money coming in, you don't need to cut your life back.
Mm.
I mean, that is absolutely fact. Yeah. What's the first things that go? Now, the first things in my idea that should go is TV, because it's a non-essential. How many people do we meet? Oh my gosh, have they got every channel out? I meet them all the time, spending £85 plus a month just on TV, which actually doesn't do, it's not like food and water and heating and all the important things that actually matter. I see people would switch the heating off, freeze to death, stick on a coat to walk around their house, but they'll make sure that they've got their TV. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah. So how can we engage with them to help them realise that they need to actually do something? So it's all about, and it's constantly listening to their woes. Now, I'm going to give you an instance because my other half's just walked in and he talks to his colleagues while he's at work all the time. But he comes up against all the stuff we come up against. So you say to somebody, my wife or my husband or I can help you reduce your bills. I can definitely give you cheaper gas and electric. We are the cheapest. Fact. Does it prompt them to do anything? No. It doesn't. Do you know what goes on? Is ego. It's massive, the ego. A lot of people, instead of thinking, oh, wow, that sounds interesting, I'll look into that, the first thing they do is defend their choices, what they've already done. And I can see a lot of nodding going on now. All right, this stuff is real. What they're doing is, oh, well, oh, I won't look into that. I've been on Martin Lewis and he says don't switch. Now, Martin, what they don't know is Martin Lewis says don't switch because he won't recommend Utility Warehouse, even though we across the board of our 4 tariffs are the cheapest. He won't recommend us because Utility Warehouse won't pay him commissions to recommend. Isn't that interesting? So is he giving out best advice? No. He's giving out advice that suits him. That's why he's a multi-millionaire. And if you go back 8 pages into his website, he finally has to admit all the commissions he gets for putting people to switching services and all the rest of it. Quite interesting, that. Now, you could obviously explain all this to people, and some of them may listen, but most of them will think, oh, well, you would say that, wouldn't you? Because you just want to sell me something. Is that true? That's what Big Al says. They don't want to be sold to. People don't like being sold to, but everybody wants to buy something. Isn't that bizarre?
Yeah.
Is anyone like me? I go into a shop, I want to have a chance to look around before I consider I'm pounced on. Yeah, I want to be able to make what I consider an informed choice. I want to look around for myself before someone comes in and says, I know what's best for you. Does it put my back up? Yes, it does. I'm as guilty as everybody. because
Love it.
we've all got that in us. Whereas if I'm given the time to have a look around, and then an assistant comes over and says, what exactly were you looking for? Have you had a chance? Have you found it? Or could it be somewhere where you've not looked yet? Now, that's a different question. They're not asking me, can I sell you something? They're actually asking, can they help me with my looking? Now, I'm possibly more receptive. Big Al says we've got to give them options, choices. That's what they want to hear. So what we want to do is ask people the right questions that we know they'll respond with the right answers. So how are you finding it at the moment when you go shopping? Is it getting more expensive, or is it just me? Is that the kind of conversations we have? How about, God, what do you think about this energy crisis? See what they say. Have an open question for them. See how they answer. Then, if they come back to you with, oh, well, I'm lucky because I'm in a fixed rate at the moment, and I'm okay. And then you could say, oh, when does your fixed rate run out? And they might say next month. They might say May. They could say June. Say, oh, that's good. What are you going to do afterwards when it runs out? Thank you, darling. So I've just got a wonderful cup of tea brought me.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you.
So what we want to do is we want to proffer that people will then be more engaging with us. So by asking the right questions, we might get some answers, and then we can say, I might be able to help you with that, or I know someone that can help you with that. Gosh, I know a company that is amazing. Now I'm going to share, I went on an appointment this morning. It's a double gold homeowner now. She is interested in the opportunity, and she came about because of referral. In fact, my last 4 appointments have all come from recommendation, right? They're all referrals. The lady in question that referred her, I met her a few years ago at the Gillingham and Shaftesbury show. And when she came over and I got the appointment, to be quite honest with you, I got the appointment because as I spoke to her and explained, she then said to me, my vicar has been with that company for about 10 years. So, yes, if we hadn't been there, it wouldn't have happened. But if I'm honest, it was a kind of recommendation too, because what we know is people will sometimes react and do something when they hear it from different sources. They say that the mind often needs so many prompts before it will actually go into action. Advertising say that they often need 7 blasts before they'll actually react. That's why advertising is extremely expensive. I used to be into business to business advertising. I sold leaflet distribution. And I can say to you that the take-up is really low. With leaflet distribution, all these people going out and putting neighbourhood letters, unless you actually speak to people, it's very low. It's about a 1% take-up because there is no human contact. There's nothing behind it. So this is about finding out where we can help people. Now, you've got customers, and those can be a source of many, many more recommendations. It is the best source of business. Now, the lady I went to see, interestingly, she was as nervous as anything about switching. And who do you think she was with? Well, she was with British Gas for gas and electric. She was with BT, and she'd been for donkey's years with O2. She was terrified of switching, despite the fact that her friend Anne, who she met coming out of church on Sunday, they got talking. Now, Anne, it's amazing this happened, because actually, in truth, Anne did it all wrong. Anne said to her, because she was saying about, oh, do you know, I must get round to switching from BT. I say it every year and I never do it, but I'm terrified. Anne said, never mind your telephone. Who are you with for gas and electric? And she said, British Gas. She said, oh, you don't want to be with them. You need to be with Utility Warehouse. She said, the vicar's got it. He's had it for 14 years now. I've got it. She said, next door, Rose has got it. Now, do you know what? That's great, but really, what that would normally do is put up confrontation. But amazingly, Anne said to her, the way that I asked her to, I'll get Lisa to call you. Not give her my number and she calls me, because would that have happened? Doubt it. No. So I got a WhatsApp message Sunday evening. There's somebody, Lisa, that you need to speak to. Can you give me a bell? Anne relays all this. I get the numbers and I said, right, Anne, I don't wish to inconvenience the lady. When would be the best time to call? Oh, she said, any time. Just give her a call. She said, I'll tell her now that you will be phoning. And I said, fine. And I rang her actually Monday morning, and then I went along at 10 o'clock today and signed her up. But she was nervous, and I'm going to explain this to you. She said, I don't like the idea of putting all my eggs in one basket. Anybody had that one?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Not just me then.
No.
And I said, why would that be, Jane? Why? Oh, well, she said, you've got no control and I want control. I said, oh, so having it with different companies, do you think you've got more control? She said, well, yes. I said, no, you haven't. I said, you've got less control. I said, do you know what I like as a customer? If I was not to be happy about something, I could just stop my DD and they don't get paid for any of the services. I said, that gives me enormous control. And she went, oh, I never thought of it like that. I said, but I don't need to because they're wonderful. I said, I like the fact that I have all my eggs in one basket. I said, I know where everything is. It's simple, I can budget. And then I explained again about the bill. Now, this is at the point where she's going to say proceed. And she's going into sheer panic, absolute panic. She has said wonderful to everything, but now she's in panic. And I said, why is that? She said, oh, I suppose, she said, there's comfort in knowing who I'm with. I said, what, comfort in knowing that you're paying more? I said, I said, have you ever run BT? She said, yes. I said, when was the last time you rang them? She said, oh, about 2 years ago. I said, how long did it take to get through? Oh, yes, she said, it is a nightmare. I said, did you speak to someone in this country? Oh, no. I said, oh, right. I said, so on a scale, and I've learnt this from Steve, I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, Lisa, get out the door. How dare you even come in here and offer what you've got? And I said, 10 being, what are you playing at, Lisa? Sign me up. I want to save all this money. I want simpler billing. I want better customer service from a real human being. And I said that. And she looked at me and she went, oh, you think I'm daft now, don't you? I said, no, I don't. So then I came out with the feel, felt, found. I said, look, Jane, I know exactly how you feel. I said, it's the way most people feel. But you know what I found out years ago? I said, I'm on about 19 years ago. I found out this was really, really good. I said, come on, Jane. I said, let's look at all of this. When you took on those other services, you spoke to a faceless stranger, didn't you? And she went, yes. I said, so there was no sort of rapport, no personal touch, no personal customer service? She said, no. I said, who's recommended this to you? She said, my friend. She didn't say Anne, she said, my friend. I said, what, Anne? She said, yes. I said, how long have you known Anne? Oh, about 10 years. I said, how long have you known your vicar? Oh, she said the same. I said, they both got it. I said, do you think I'd rip off my accountant, my solicitor, my mum and dad, my family, my friends, my daughters, my hairdresser, my GP, my dentist? She said, do they all use it? I said, yes. I said, am I really going to rip them off? No, I don't think so. She said, all right, sign me up. Now, what I used there was stuff I've been taught. It's called testimonial. It's testimonial that other people, it's the stories, it's people need to know that there's lots of other people are happy. Yes, you've showed them this over 650,000 customers, but that means nothing. How many customers have British Gas got? 16.5 million. And they are the most expensive provider and you can't even speak to them. So I said, look, Jane, what's going to happen here? You've got all my contact details and I'm like a PA while the services transfer and you can speak to me. And I said, I'm going to now get the app on your phone. So you're up and running. And then as the services come over, you'll see it happen. I said, I'm going to get the pack code for your mobile. I'm going to make sure your handset's unlocked. Oh, she said, are you going to do all that? I said, yeah. Oh, you're not going to leave it to me? I said, no, that's what the other companies do.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, it's coming to life and it's taking effect and it's real. So before I left, she had talked about becoming a partner, but I turned around and said, do you know, Jane, I think you need to see this in action. They call the proof is in the eating. Let's get you switched over. And I said, we'll then talk about getting some names together of people that you think would love the wonderful service that you're about to experience. And you know what? All of a sudden, instead of £50 each time, that could be 250 or 300. And I said, you know that you want to reduce your bills. Well, just imagine another 250, 500 or £750 every month coming in. How much difference would that make to you? And she said, oh, an enormous difference, Lisa. She said, it means that I can shop at Waitrose and not at Aldi. And I like Waitrose. And she lives literally just across the road from this best Waitrose ever. And I just thought, isn't that nice? So it turned around. But what I want to say to you is, can you see how confrontation can happen? How if we don't speak to people correctly, if we just sell the services, it's never going to happen. You know, Juan constantly tells his work colleagues about this. And every single one of them says, my wife deals with it. Then they go home and they say, oh, I'm going to phone them, speak to them. And every time it's, oh, it's all right. No, she says she's dealt with it all. She doesn't need to speak to you. So what's going on there? Ego, choices. They want to defend what they've already done. Number two, they don't know there's £200 to help them switch to pay off contracts early. Number three, they don't realise that everyday spending could eliminate, for example, the total cost of their phone and broadband, making it entirely different. They don't realise there's extra customer service. They don't realise about the simple billing. Thank you for that. Thank you, Andrew. Very nice of you. what this is all about is we've got to hear people's woes and then say, do you know what? There's something wonderful that can help you. And I'd love to come and show you. If I try and explain it all now, if I try and do it over the phone, I'll mess it up. And actually the company requires that I show you everything. And then when you see everything, you've got the options, you've got the choice, and you can decide what's right for you. People love the idea that they choose, not you choose for them. Now, what they don't realize is when I go and see them, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one option, and it's double gold. But they don't know that.
Mm.
So is that kind of helpful?
Definitely.
Yeah? Right, questions, because we're at the end. Is that a hand up, Val?
No, we're just unmuting myself.
Oh, right, okay. Anybody got any questions? Come on, you must have. What's the stuff you come up against?
At the moment, it's and the three conversations I've had this week already. I'm just looking for energy.
Hey, great, wonderful.
I've got one this weekend, and exactly everything you've said. Yeah, it's a referral. I've got in contact. I've said I've made the contact, and she said, what is it you can do? And I said, look, we can do everything, but it's better to talk. It's better for me to show you. Let's make an appointment for the weekend when you're free. And she's come back, and this is just messages, and she's come back with, we're just looking for energy, and I've said no problem at all. Making appointment. And I've had 3 appointments now, and it's ended up just looking at energy. Yeah. One massive Sky contract, that's fine. And so I'm going into it, and I'll show them everything. So but even if I end up with energy, so even if they just end up with energy because of contracts, what's the best way then to talk to them about being partners? Because the company UW wants us to go partners, and that's the bit I'm struggling with. So energy only and getting them as partner.
Yeah, the company does want us to bring in new partners, but you want to bring in new partners, not the company.
Yeah, I meant that. Scrap that. I want them. I really want them. Like it's so.
Why do we want them? Not for us, but for them. We've got to think about it's what's in it for them, not what's in it for us. Okay. Yeah. Because the reality is there's an awful lot that they can do by having more money coming in. Now, I would, if someone says I'm only interested in energy, I would not object. I'd say, great, let's set this appointment up. In your case, Zoom. Yeah. When you get on the Zoom, you have to then say, and this is what I do every time, I say, look, I know you just want energy, but I have to be compliant, and the company requires me to show you everything, because it could be a no for now, and it would be very remiss of me not to show you everything so you don't know what you're missing, because that would be a terrible thing. So let me show you everything. Some of it's going to be for you, some of it isn't. It doesn't matter. At the end of it, we can see. And then you just go through it all, you show them the double gold, and then you can work back.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. In fact,
and what you've said, actually, what you just said, which I've written down, and I know this is being recorded, let's get you switched over, show you the fantastic service you're about to experience, then we can get some names together. Instead of £50 in your pocket, we can now make that 250 or 300.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then say, oh, but I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I could never be as good as you. Does anyone say that? Yes. All the time? And I say, no, of course you can't. Because, do you know what? A bit like the first time I got in the driving seat, I was terrified. I thought I was going to sit in the passenger. And then there was the handbrake. There was the steering wheel to hold. There was the gears. There was indicators. There were 3 pedals. And I remember thinking, how am I ever going to learn this? Now I get in the car and I don't even remember how I got there. Never mind think about driving. See, what you do is you say to them, in the beginning, you're not going to do anything other than sit there and watch.
Yeah.
Because it's an apprenticeship scheme. So you're going to earn money and not do anything as such.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even further down the line, I am still supporting people, senior team leaders sometimes. All right. Because people have a rest in this business. And like everybody, a bit like the old gym analogy, you know, if you stop going to the gym, all of a sudden it's all very difficult and you can't do it. You actually need some guidance and help to get going again.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the same thing. So the company allows us to support at any level so that we can get back in the flow. Anything else?
Yes, something not related to what you just said. Your advert was Lisa, but this is a green question. As you can see, I'm wearing green today. Green shirt, green thing. When you're doing quotes for double gold, and let's assume double gold, and the energy, you look at the energy, is it better to take variable energy, say at £100 a month, or to go for a fixed at say £150 a month?
Oh, good question.
What's likely to be in April when it goes up?
It's a great question, Lindsay. I don't believe it's our position to advise. Everybody's financial circumstances are different, and very few people will ever let on what's really happening in their financial life. And I wouldn't, you know, I mean, that lady was the first time I saw her this morning. You know, I got a feel for her home and everything, but I don't know what her disposable income is. And hey, there's a question that would be very difficult to ask somebody, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, how much, you know, when everything's paid for, how much money have you got left at the end of the day? A lot of people, it's very little. And for some people, they could be in the minus and living on the credit. So if that was the case, they wouldn't be able to take fixed. It'd probably be far too expensive. But I was able to help her decide for herself to have fixed because we still came out cheaper than she was currently paying with British Gas. Isn't that amazing?
Really?
And we were cheaper on BT because she was paying £42 a month and we were £29.85. She was paying £18 a month and she only needed our value because can you believe she was paying £18 a month to O2 and she was getting 2 gig of data? And she showed me she still had 1.88 gigs left for the rest of this month. So there was no way I'd stick her on unlimited. That would be a stupid thing. So I put her on value. So she was saving a load of money there. And then with British Gas, it was huge. Now, don't get me wrong. It was a massive saving on the variable. And I said to her, that must look, in fact, I've got it here somewhere. I said, that must look so tempting. Very, very tempting. I said, but we haven't factored in that they're going to give you £50 credit to your new cashback card account. They're going to give you £50 when they've changed your smart meters. And I said, if we're conservative and we said you've got £20 a month back, cash back, I said, all of that adds up to a few hundred extra quid coming off. And she went, oh gosh, yeah. Because I showed her, you know, on the app, all the bills. I showed her mine and I said, look, we went back 6 years and my bills have never gone up. And I said to her, do you know, it's absolutely phenomenal, this. I said, I've only ever seen my mobile and my phone and broadband actually come down. In 19 years, that's what I've actually seen happen. It's only energy that pro rata's gone up. So we shouldn't advise. But in this instance, she made the decision because she was still financially better off. And I said to her, how wonderful. You've got complete peace of mind now. No price hike in April. Right, we've gone over time. I'm very aware of that. So I'm going to say we better call it a halt. Would you kindly please send me via WhatsApp privately what you would like to discuss? Okay, I'm going to have a quick look in the chat room and see what's been said there, copy and paste it, because there may be some stuff in there. But thank you for coming on. I hope it's been helpful today. and we'll be doing the same thing, same time, same place next week.
Thank you, Lisa. Can
Thank
I
you.
book a one? Can I book a one-to-one with you when you're free?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
isn't it amazing? Look at that. How many miles are we apart, Fran?
I don't know. I mean, 10-hour flight. So yeah, whatever.
Everyone, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Lisa. Fabulous.
Thank you.
Tremendous. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So let's go to the chat now. Let's have a look at the chat. Lovely. Booked, yes. Excellent. Okay, that's good. Right. Close and